Next in line are the Los Angeles Rams. Now, what the Rams did in this draft, which is, I think, really vital and really important, and some teams do it and some teams don't, they drafted for the players that they were missing in their last game that they lost. So they lost the Super Bowl, and when you think about it, they went out and said, if we had a guy like this guy and we had a guy like this guy, we might have a chance to win that game. And I feel like when you go into the offseason, that's how you build your team. I personally feel that way. You don't build your team for, your division opponent that you see, two times a year or whatever. You don't build it for somebody in your conference or anything like that. You build it off the last team that beat you, because whatever that team's seen as far as your weakness, they pretty much gave it to you. Okay, we should attack this area because we know that you don't have a good player here. We should attack this area because we know you can't stop this here. And so what the Rams did, they went into this offseason and they went into this draft and they went out and addressed a lot of those. Dang, if we would have had a guy like him, or dang, if we would have had a guy like him, we might have a chance to win the Super Bowl. The best pick that the Rams did make was Taylor Rapp. Now you think about it, dang, if we would have had a guy like Taylor Rapp, a safety that could play inside the box, a safety that could play over the top, that can be a really impactful player on the game itself. I think that if they had a guy like him, maybe he helps out in the short game because that's where they were getting killed out the most. He's a playmaker. He's a guy that can fly to the ball. So you think about those Edelman routes that they were running across the middle. Maybe he's a guy that can shut that down, and he's a guy that can stop it because he's that kind of safety. Or the short screen passes that they were making to the outside, that he's a guy that can come up and see that and diagnose that a lot better. He's that guy with that kind of vision. So if the Rams have a guy like him in the Super Bowl, maybe they have a chance to win because he's going to start taking away some of that short game and forcing Tom Brady to take those shots down the field a little bit more, or at least on the outside, give your corners a better chance to play the ball and things like that. So overall, I felt like Taylor Rapp was their best player that they got in this draft class. The pick that they made that I like was Greg Gaines. He was a guy on my watch list. He's a guy that's going to be a space eater. He's going to be a guy that's going to dominate in the run game and really take away a lot of those inside runs. Once again, if they have a guy like him in the Super Bowl, do they have a chance to win? Who knows? Because he's not a guy that's going to get pass rushing up the middle. And that's something that I feel like they were kind of predicated on last year. That was something that they kind of built off of. And it worked out for him for the most part. But realistically, I feel like Greg Gaines is a pick that I like. But the worst thing about their draft class is they didn't get an edge rusher. I know they got Dante Fowler there, but I feel like they needed a guy that's opposite of him to really bring that outside pressure to force that quarterback to step up into who? Aaron Donald. And so now you think about it. If they have Greg Gaines, he stops the inside run game with Sonny Michel and a lot of things that they were doing in the Super Bowl. But Tom Brady still has the ability to kind of step back or get some depth in that pocket because the only person that's coming off the edge really is Dante Fowler, in my opinion. And they needed that edge rusher, and they didn't address it, and that's pretty much the worst thing about this draft class. I felt looking at the Rams' overall draft, they had a B kind of draft. When you really think about it, they had Greg Gaines, who's a space eater, who's going to help out in the run game, which is really important. And then you also got Taylor Rapp, who's going to be a playmaker safety in the back. Those are those players like, dang, if we have this player in the Super Bowl, do we have a chance to win? And I feel like they do, especially Taylor Rapp. I feel like if he had him in the Super Bowl, you might have a chance to win. But they needed that edge rusher, and they didn't get it. You look at what the Niners are doing in their division. The Niners are building a team that can get after the quarterback. The Niners just doesn't have the same talented secondary as the Rams do. And I feel like if the Rams had the pass rusher of the Niners, and if the Niners had the secondary of the Rams, that would be a scary defense. And that's what they're missing, realistically. They need a consistent – clean pass rush and really let off some of that pressure on Aaron Donald because he's going to get doubled now. And, like, people are not going to let him run free. So you're going to have to scheme him up or things like that. But people are just not going to say, oh, look, it's Aaron Donald. We're just going to put one guy on him, or we're going to chip him with a tight end, or we're going to chip him with a running back. Like, that's not going to work anymore. You have to put two people on him. So why not get somebody else out there that can be just as dominant? And, yeah, you still have Dante Fowler, but why not get another person who can be just as dominant? Now you're just causing havoc across the line of scrimmage. So that's all I have for you guys in this Ram grade video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you're not a footballologist yet, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel to become a footballologist today. Stay safe, football fans.